Legs, something that seems obvious in daily life, but for the elderly, they are the final bridge that helps maintain independence, freedom, and dignity. Every step is a symbol of life. The ability to go outside, to enjoy the morning sun, go shopping, visit grandchildren, or simply open the door to the balcony and feel the breeze. But do you know that strength, which we usually think only fades with age, is actually being silently eroded every day by what you eat? Fruits, seemingly healthy, sweet, and nutritious, can become a traitor to the elderly's legs. Not all fruits are good for older adults. Some contain many vitamins but also have too much natural sugar, causing low grade inflammation, joint pain, swollen ankles, and exhausted knees. Others have a warming property that disrupts joint fluid balance, making movement difficult and stiff. The consequences don't come immediately, but after weeks, months, you will feel yourself slowing down, hurting more, getting more tired, and gradually becoming dependent on others. The scariest thing is not aging, but losing the ability to take care of yourself. And all of this starts with seemingly harmless foods. Today, I want to share with you 8 types of fruits that elderly people should stop eating immediately if they don't want to keep trading their precious leg strength. This is information not everyone knows, and very likely you are eating one or more of these fruits every day without realizing it. So, if you want to keep your legs strong, walk confidently without worrying about pain or numbness, listen carefully. Please share this video with your parents, grandparents, and loved ones, those you always wish to see healthy and steady with every step, even as they grow old. 1. Ripe bananas, the sweet betrayer, silently stealing the strength of elderly legs. In the minds of many people, especially the elderly, bananas are always seen as a gentle fruit, easy to digest, good for digestion, providing quick energy and rich in nutrients. However, few realize that the sweetness and softness of very ripe bananas, those with spotted black skins and mushy sweet flesh, can become a silent threat to the health of the legs, especially in the elderly. The riper the banana, the higher its natural sugar content, mainly fructose and glucose, two sugars that are easily absorbed and quickly raise blood sugar after eating. For young people, the body can regulate blood sugar fluctuations well, but in the elderly, who often already have issues like metabolic disorders, diabetes, high blood pressure, or insulin resistance, absorbing too much sugar from very ripe bananas can cause serious consequences. A sudden rise in blood sugar can trigger a low level inflammatory response in the body, especially in connective tissues such as ligaments, cartilage, and muscles, the important structures that protect and support leg movement. Over time, repeated inflammatory reactions damage the knee cartilage, causing pain, joint swelling, numbness in limbs, and in severe cases can lead to balance loss while walking, increasing the risk of falls, a disastrous event in old age. Moreover, the high sugar content in ripe bananas forces the liver and kidneys to work harder to process it, indirectly slowing down the elimination of uric acid, the leading cause of acute joint pain, especially in the big toe and ankle. Some modern nutritional studies also point out that ripe bananas contain starch that is fully converted to simple sugars, almost no beneficial fiber left, causing an unbalanced digestion process and leading to feelings of fatigue and sluggishness, something elderly people often experience after meals without knowing why. Sadly, due to familiarity, many elderly people see ripe bananas as a simple afternoon treat, cheap and easy to eat, even considering it a natural laxative. They eat them daily, sometimes 2 to 3 bananas, without realizing they are silently weakening their legs, losing flexibility, slowing reflexes, and increasing the risk of falling with every step. The advice for the elderly is, if you like bananas, choose those that are moderately ripe, bright yellow skin, no brown spots, firm flesh, not mushy. Eat them in moderation, about 2 to 3 bananas per week, and preferably in the morning or mid-morning when the body still has plenty of energy to metabolize. Absolutely avoid eating them at night or on an empty stomach. Remember, the strength of the legs doesn't come from heavy exercise but begins with mindfulness and discipline in choosing daily foods. Sometimes, to keep each step steady today, we need the courage to say goodbye to foods that are too sweet but no longer suitable for old age. Too ripe mango, the golden trap, that silently weakens the legs of the elderly. When summer comes, the golden ripe mangoes with their fragrant aroma are hard to resist. For many elderly people, a few sweet mango slices after a meal serve as a refreshing and easy to digest dessert. However, few realize that this alluring sweetness is actually a sugar trap that silently erodes musculoskeletal strength, seriously damaging the legs, the part that supports the entire body and independence in old age. Ripe mango contains extremely high levels of fructose. An average ripe mango can have over 45 grams of natural sugar, equivalent to the sugar content in a can of soda. When eaten, this sugar is rapidly absorbed through the intestinal lining, causing a spike in blood sugar levels. For the elderly, whose ability to regulate blood sugar has declined over time, this easily leads to post meal hyperglycemia, triggering a series of low grade inflammatory reactions, especially in connective tissues like cartilage, ligaments, and tendons, structures crucial for the strength and flexibility of the legs. If this condition persists, the knee joints weaken, thigh and calf muscles lose strength, and the ability to maintain balance and reflexes during movement deteriorates severely. This explains why many elderly people, despite eating well and resting regularly, still feel their legs getting weaker, experience dull pain when climbing stairs, get tired after standing for long or short walks, and even often fall without knowing why. Additionally, mango contains small amounts of natural uric acid and purine compounds. Consuming too much, especially in those with existing gout or impaired liver and kidney function, increases the risk of acute joint pain flare ups, typically in the big toes, ankles, and knees, key areas for mobility. Furthermore, ripe mangoes, being soft, sweet, and juicy, are often eaten in excessive amounts, inadvertently causing excess calories, increased visceral fat, putting direct pressure on the musculoskeletal system, making already weak legs more vulnerable. Moreover, many people have the habit of eating ripe mango with chili salt, sugar, or crushed ice to make smoothies. Unintentionally combining natural simple sugars in mango with refined sugars and cold substances that cause vasoconstriction, hindering blood circulation to the lower limbs. That's why many feel cold, numbness, fatigue, or a sudden loss of energy in their limbs after eating mango. Some elderly people believe eating mango cools the liver and relieves heat, but this is only true for green, unripe mangoes, which contain antioxidants and tannins that aid digestion. Ripe mangoes, like especially those ripened on the tree or artificially ripened, have high sugar but lack fiber, easily causing digestive disorders, bloating, indigestion, and prolonged fatigue, affecting all physical activities, including walking. So, should elderly people completely eliminate mango from their diet? The answer is no, but they need to control the quantity and timing. If craving mango, choose mangoes that are just ripe with firm flesh and eat no more than 100 to 150 grams per serving, about half a small mango, preferably at noon. Avoid evening consumption, and absolutely do not eat on an empty stomach. Do not combine with ice, sugar, or condensed milk. Also, those with a history of diabetes, hypertension, gout, or osteoarthritis should limit ripe mango consumption to minimize the risk of losing blood sugar control and joint inflammation compared to healthy individuals. Most importantly, elderly people need to understand that no matter how natural a fruit is, it is no longer safe if eaten incorrectly or excessively. The steady steps you take today are determined by every small choice at the dining table. Be cautious with overly sweet foods, as they can sometimes be a double edged sword, silently cutting off the stability of your legs, the foundation for an independent and autonomous life in old age. Don't let a sweet slice of mango today cause you to lose your ability to stand firmly tomorrow. 3. Longan and lychee. Longan and lychee, tropical sweetness silently eroding the strength of the elderly's legs. When summer comes, clusters of golden longans and bright red plump lychees always revive many sweet memories of youth in the minds of older people. Longan and lychee are not only delicious and sweet, but also considered symbols of tropical summer, familiar and close like gifts from nature. However, these seemingly harmless gifts of nature have quietly become enemies to the legs of the elderly, a part that has weakened over time and is now being eroded daily by one thing: sugar. The dangerous commonality of longan and lychee is their extremely high natural sugar content, mainly fructose, a type of sugar that easily penetrates the intestinal walls and goes straight into the blood, Just 100 grams of longan or lychee, equivalent to about 8 to 10 fruits, contains nearly 20 grams of sugar, a worrying amount, especially for older adults who have less efficient and easily disrupted sugar metabolism. When consuming a large amount, blood sugar spikes, causing the body to release insulin to balance it. However, in older people, insulin often does not work effectively due to insulin resistance, resulting in sugar remaining in the blood at high levels, triggering a chronic, low grade inflammatory response throughout the body. And you know what? This inflammation does not stop at the heart, liver, or blood vessels, but also directly attacks the joint and musculoskeletal systems, especially the legs, which bear the full weight of the body every day. The cartilage tissues in the knees, ankles, and feet are very sensitive to changes in blood sugar and inflammatory reactions. Once the cartilage becomes inflamed, it thins, hardens, and loses elasticity, making every step a silent pain. This is why elderly people who eat balanced diets and do no heavy work still experience sharp knee pain when it gets cold, limbs feel numb and prickly, and walking becomes increasingly difficult. Moreover, the hot nature of longan and lychee stimulates the body from within. For the elderly, this is extremely dangerous. Eating too much longan or lychee can cause internal heat and inflammation, overloading the liver and kidneys, disrupting purine metabolism, and increasing uric acid in the blood, the leading cause of gout. Gout not only causes severe joint inflammation and pain, but also deforms toe joints, causing swelling, redness, and burning sensations, making movement painful, causing imbalance, and even causing falls due to loss of balance. Additionally, another often overlooked danger is the stimulating feeling caused by longan and lychee. When eaten, the sudden sugar surge causes the brain to release dopamine, creating excitement and making the elderly eat more uncontrollably. This is followed by a reactive hypoglycemia, causing fatigue, shaky limbs, dizziness, and easy loss of balance. It is especially dangerous to eat longan or lychee in the evening when the digestive system slows down. Excess sugar easily accumulates as visceral fat, directly pressuring hip, knee, and ankle joints, making the legs feel like lead each morning. It is even more dangerous when many elderly people have the habit of eating longan and lychee by the kilogram. When given or bought cheaply, they often refrigerate and eat gradually or eat dozens at once without thinking of the consequences. Some eat and then sleep because they feel full, but wake up with numb legs, stiff joints, and difficulty stretching. Some eat longan while watching TV for a long time. Then, when standing up, their knees crack, stepping is difficult, and their legs easily slip and fall. So, what should be done? The advice for the elderly is if you still love longan and lychee, eat them moderately, no more than 5 to 6 fruits per serving, and no more than 2, 3 times a week. Do not eat in the evening. Absolutely avoid eating on an empty stomach, as sugar absorbed at this time will enter the blood very quickly. It is recommended to combine them with cooling, high fiber fruits such as dragon fruit, cucumber, or green vegetables to neutralize. For those with diabetes, hypertension, gout, or signs of joint degeneration, it is best to avoid completely or replace with fruits lower in sugar. Remember, legs are not only what help us move, but also symbolize autonomy, dignity, and independence in old age. Once the strength of the legs is lost, the elderly will also lose their precious freedom. Don't let sweet fruits like longan and lychee, despite their nostalgic memories, be exchanged for unsteady steps and irreversible falls. Choose fruits wisely and eat with control. That is how you protect your legs and preserve a healthy, free, and peaceful life in the later years. For durian. Durian, the king of fruits, but also the silent thief of stability for elderly legs. Many elderly people are obsessed with durian, the fruit dubbed king for its unique, rich, and irresistibly creamy flavor. Some eat it to remember their hometown or the taste of childhood each durian season. Others eat it because they hear durian is nutritious, full of energy, and can even replace a main meal. But while enjoying its strong aroma and sweet, rich taste, few realize durian is putting tremendous pressure on the legs, a part already worn out over the years. Durian contains extremely high amounts of sugar and fat. In 100 grams of durian flesh, there are up to 27 grams of carbohydrates, mostly simple sugars, glucose, fructose, and more than 5 grams of saturated fat. Eating one segment, seemingly small, can add 150 to 200 calories to the body, equivalent to a light meal. For elderly people with slow metabolism, regularly eating durian means increased blood sugar, increased blood fat, and worse, increased pressure on the lower limb joints, especially the knees and ankles, which bear the entire body's weight. Not stopping there, durian is also rich in potassium, a good mineral but a double edged sword if excessive in the elderly, especially those with kidney or heart problems. Too much potassium can cause arrhythmia, muscle weakness, muscle pain, making legs easily fatigued, cramped after just a few steps, or exhausted. Many elderly who eat durian the night before wake up with knee pain, tight calf muscles, and unsteady standing. This is no coincidence. Additionally, durian's extremely hot nature causes low-grade inflammation and accumulates heat toxins in the liver and joints. In the elderly, with weakened detox systems, these toxins cannot be expelled and begin depositing in joint fluids, causing swelling and pain. The consequence is frequent numbness and mild swelling in the ankles or knees, especially after sitting for a long time. This condition not only affects mobility, but also makes the elderly prone to falls and staggering due to loss of reflexes and weak leg muscles. Another danger is that durian is often eaten impulsively, with very few controlling their intake, especially when combined with other sweet foods like sweet soups, coconut water, or sticky rice. The total sugar and fat intake multiplies. For the elderly, this is like continuously loading burdens onto the legs every minute. Each durian eating session prolongs the risk of joint degeneration, arthritis, and loss of motor control. Durian also easily causes indigestion, bloating, high blood pressure, and sleep disturbances, especially when eaten in the evening, a time when the body should rest. When sleep is disrupted, the ability to regenerate cartilage and muscle tissue declines. That's why many elderly recently feel much weaker, with legs often aching as if ants are crawling inside the bones, but without knowing why, possibly just because of eating too much durian. Therefore, sincere advice from nutrition experts for the elderly is if you have stable health, no diabetes, hypertension, or severe joint disease, you can eat 1 to 2 small durian segments per week, preferably in the morning or afternoon, and absolutely not in the evening or on an empty stomach. If you have blood sugar, joint, heart, or kidney problems, avoid durian entirely or consult a doctor before eating. Absolutely avoid eating durian with beer, alcohol, sweets, or greasy foods, as it can cause metabolic shock, leading to stroke, heart attack, or motor system collapse in old age. Durian is delicious, but not for everyone, especially for legs that have carried burdens for decades, beginning to ache with changing seasons, and only have a little strength left to keep elderly people independent. Without moderation, today's sweetness could be the price for prolonged pain tomorrow. Choose foods not only tasty but also suitable for the aging body, because once legs weaken, it is very difficult to regain their original strength. Losing strong legs means losing the final freedom of old age. 5. Sugar apple. Nah. Sugar apple, a sweet, nutritious fruit but with hidden risks of weakening elderly legs. Sugar apple, also known as henna, is a familiar fruit loved for its sweet, refreshing taste, soft, juicy flesh, and rich nutrients. Nut contains abundant vitamin C, potassium, and antioxidants, which are very good for health. However, for elderly people, eating nut improperly or excessively can cause unexpected negative effects on health, especially on the legs. Nut has a fairly high natural sugar content, so consuming too much, especially for elderly people whose glucose metabolism has declined, can cause sudden spikes in blood sugar. This adversely affects blood circulation, causing poor blood flow, particularly in the lower limbs like feet and calves, areas that need sufficient blood supply to maintain strength and flexibility. When blood flow is insufficient, elderly people easily feel cold feet, numbness, fatigue, and even frequent pain. Additionally, enna has a cooling nature. Eating too much may cause stomach pain, diarrhea, and weaken the already fragile digestive system of the elderly. When digestion is inefficient, the body cannot absorb enough nutrients needed for the muscles and soft tissues of the legs, leading to loss of strength, fatigue, and reduced mobility. Especially, some elderly with sensitive constitutions may experience mild allergies or skin rashes caused by compounds in Na, causing discomfort that affects quality of life and mood, indirectly reducing motivation for movement and leg care. To protect health and maintain strong legs, Elderly people should note: limit eating too much nay at once, only consume moderate amounts, about 1 to 2 fruits each time, and not too frequently. Avoid eating on an empty stomach or too late at night to prevent pressure on the stomach and digestive system. Combine with warming or neutral fruits like ripe banana or papaya to balance body temperature. People with diabetes or digestive problems should consult a doctor before consuming to avoid unwanted complications. Though sweet and nutritious, if not used properly, can become a factor that gradually weakens the strength of elderly legs, making movement difficult and limiting independence in life. Therefore, careful consideration in choosing and using NA is an important part of maintaining health, helping elderly people live happily and actively every day. 6. Watermelon. Watermelon, a sweet, refreshing fruit but can harm the strength of elderly people's legs if not used properly. Watermelon has long been a familiar and beloved fruit in summer due to its sweet, cool taste and high water content that quickly cools the body and effectively detoxifies it. Watermelon is rich in vitamins A and C, along with minerals such as potassium and magnesium, which support the immune system and balance electrolytes in the body. However, for the elderly, watermelon is not entirely a miracle fruit, and if not consumed properly, it can cause negative effects, especially directly affecting the strength and flexibility of the legs. One of the notable characteristics of watermelon is its strong cooling property, meaning when it enters the body, watermelon can deeply cool it down. For young, healthy people, their body temperature regulation is good, so they usually are not much affected. But for the elderly, whose circulatory and digestive systems have declined and ability to regulate temperature and metabolize substances is weaker, consuming too much watermelon can cause the body to become excessively cold. Prolonged coldness not only affects the stomach, weakening digestion, but also causes blood circulation to the lower limbs to stagnate. Poor blood circulation leads to a lack of oxygen and nutrients to nourish the muscle tissues in the legs, causing numbness, stiffness, and muscle weakness, thereby reducing mobility and increasing the risk of falls, a very serious issue for the elderly. Many people have the habit of eating watermelon at night or on an empty stomach, which further increases the chances of stomach coldness, diarrhea, and bloating, causing the leg health to deteriorate faster. In addition, watermelon contains quite a high amount of sugar, so eating a lot, especially for those with diabetes or prediabetes, will cause a sudden increase in blood sugar, damaging the vascular system, especially the small blood vessels in the legs. This leads to impaired blood circulation, accompanied by symptoms such as pain, cramps, and swelling in the legs, warning signs of declining leg strength. Moreover, some elderly people may have mild allergies to watermelon, manifested by symptoms such as itchy rashes and skin discomfort affecting mood and overall health, thus reducing mobility and maintaining physical fitness. To protect leg health and maintain movement strength, elderly people should note when using watermelon: limit eating too much watermelon, only about 1 to 2 small pieces per time. Avoid continuous or excessive consumption in a day. Avoid eating watermelon on an empty stomach or late at night to prevent stomach coldness and reduce digestive ability. Combine watermelon with warm foods to balance body temperature, helping maintain better blood circulation. People with diabetes or circulatory problems should consult a doctor before eating much watermelon to avoid unwanted complications. If allergic signs or discomfort appear after eating watermelon, stop using it immediately and seek medical advice. Although watermelon is a sweet, natural gift that effectively cools the body, if not used properly, especially by the elderly, it can become a cause of weakened legs, reduced strength, and increased risk of mobility problems. Therefore, understanding the effects and proper use of watermelon will help elderly people maintain better health, keep their flexibility and agility, and enjoy a happy, healthy life every day. 7. Jackfruit. Ripe jackfruit, the sweet taste of childhood, but also a potential silent threat to the strength of elderly people's legs. Ripe jackfruit is one of the fruits deeply tied to the childhood memories of many Vietnamese people. Its rich aroma, mild sweetness, and chewy soft texture make jackfruit an irresistible and unforgettable snack. However, behind that appeal, ripe jackfruit carries hidden risks for health, especially for those who have entered old age. Jackfruit contains a fairly high amount of sugar, on average about 23 to 25 grams of sugar per 100 grams of fruit flesh, mostly simple sugars like fructose and glucose, which are easily absorbed. For young, healthy individuals, this amount of sugar doesn't cause immediate issues. But for the elderly whose ability to control blood sugar has declined, eating a lot of jackfruit can cause sudden spikes in blood sugar, leading to hormonal imbalances and weakened blood circulation. When blood doesn't circulate well, especially in the lower limbs, the legs tend to feel cold, numb, and achy. Moreover, jackfruit is a fruit with heating properties. Consuming it in large amounts can raise internal body temperature and increase inflammation and swelling in joints, particularly the knees and ankles, which are prone to degeneration in older adults. This chronic inflammation gradually wears down joints, reduces elasticity, and weakens their ability to bear weight. This is why many elderly people feel their legs growing weaker, have trouble walking, and are more likely to fall, even on flat surfaces. Another important note is that jackfruit is rich in insoluble fiber. Eating too much at once can cause indigestion and bloating, making the elderly feel heavy and uncomfortable. Over time, this can affect the absorption of essential nutrients, leaving leg muscles and soft tissues lacking the nourishment they need to stay healthy and flexible. Especially concerning is the fact that jackfruit contains a large amount of vitamin A and antioxidants, which are beneficial when consumed in moderation. But when overconsumed, the aging body may struggle to metabolize them completely, leading to toxin buildup and internal heat, which can trigger inflammation in the skin and joints, contributing to pain and swelling in the limbs. To protect their legs and maintain overall health, elderly individuals should limit eating too much ripe jackfruit at once, only small amounts, no more than 1 to 2 times per week. Avoid eating jackfruit at night or on an empty stomach to prevent digestive strain. Combine jackfruit with cooling fruits like watermelon or dragon fruit to balance body temperature. Those with diabetes, arthritis, or cardiovascular diseases should be extremely cautious and consult a doctor before consuming jackfruit. Ripe jackfruit is sweet and delightful, but without proper moderation, it can become a silent enemy that gradually weakens the strength in elderly people's legs. Strong legs are essential for maintaining independence, mobility, and enjoying the later years of life to the fullest. Remember, choosing fruit should not be based solely on taste, but should also align with one's physical condition and age. Because strong, healthy legs are the foundation for elderly people to maintain a positive spirit and a fulfilling life. Dried fruits, candied, dried apples, raisins, dried fruits, a convenient snack but full of hidden risks that can negatively impact the leg health of elderly people. Dried fruits have long been a popular and convenient choice for many people due to their variety, rich flavor, easy preservation, and portability. Items like raisins, prunes, dried apples, dried bananas, dried cherries, or tropical fruits are commonly used as snacks or ingredients in baked goods and desserts. However, for the elderly, dried fruits are not always a safe or healthy option, especially in relation to the musculoskeletal system and the strength of their legs. One of the biggest concerns with dried fruits is their highly concentrated sugar content. The drying process removes water, reducing the weight of the fruit, but preserving nearly all of its natural sugars, making dried fruits significantly higher in sugar than their fresh counterparts. When elderly individuals consume too much dried fruit, the sugar intake spikes sharply, causing major fluctuations in blood glucose levels. This is extremely dangerous for those with diabetes, prediabetes, or a high risk of metabolic disorders. High sugar intake not only makes blood sugar control more difficult, but also increases the risk of vascular damage, especially in the small blood vessels that nourish the lower limbs, like the legs and feet. Damaged blood vessels reduce blood circulation to the legs, leading to symptoms like aching, numbness, muscle cramps, and swelling. These are common problems that cause elderly individuals to lose flexibility and leg strength. They also contribute to falls, loss of balance, and mobility difficulties. In addition, dried fruits often contain large amounts of preservatives, additives, and artificial sweeteners to extend shelf life and enhance appearance and flavor. These substances, when consumed over time, can disrupt metabolism, impact liver and kidney function, and place an added burden on the immune system, which is already weakened in older adults. Notably, preservatives such as sulfites can cause allergic reactions, digestive discomfort, and fatigue, directly affecting physical performance and the leg's ability to move effectively. Moreover, dried fruits typically have much less fiber than fresh fruits because the drying process removes much of the water and some nutrients. A lack of fiber slows down digestion and can cause constipation, a common issue in the elderly that affects overall health and reduces mobility. Chronic constipation leads to discomfort, fatigue, and a decrease in physical flexibility. Additionally, dried fruits can cause dry throat and indigestion when consumed in excess, making the elderly feel unwell, eat less, and become physically weakened. Dehydration also thickens the blood, impairs circulation, and increases the risk of vascular and musculoskeletal diseases, thereby reducing leg strength. To protect leg health and maintain mobility, elderly people should take the following precautions with dried fruits. Limit consumption to very small amounts and avoid frequent intake. Choose dried fruits without added sugars, preservatives, or artificial additives, or make dried fruits at home for better safety. Avoid using dried fruits as a main food or as a substitute for fresh fruits to ensure adequate water and fiber intake. Drink plenty of water and eat more green vegetables and fresh fruits to support digestion and blood circulation, helping maintain leg strength and flexibility. Those with diabetes, heart disease, or kidney conditions should consult a doctor before consuming dried fruits. If symptoms such as leg pain, numbness, swelling, or digestive issues occur, dietary adjustments should be made immediately, and a specialist should be consulted to prevent serious complications. Though tasty and convenient, dried fruits, when not used appropriately, can become a silent enemy that gradually weakens the legs of elderly individuals, increasing the risk of mobility decline and joint problems. Understanding the risks and controlling intake can help seniors maintain their health, flexibility, and continue enjoying strong, confident steps throughout a joyful and healthy life journey.